It's time to duel.
No.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Now
Wow.
it's time to be in character and not out of character.
Oh, but I like to duel.
You can duel in character though. Okay. So the last time we was picking upon our heroes, they were back home, out of the danger, and they spent a little bit of time, approximately 3.5 months, just enjoying their time being and finished the unfinished businesses, attended to themselves, reflected upon themselves, and actually celebrated a Flavus Veil, which is the festival and the holiday that is celebrated for the end of the summer and the beginning of the autumn. And Isa disappeared for some reason.
Was it that embarrassing for her?
I mean, it's not the. Okay, you don't show up in the throne room when even you were called upon going into the fucking island. It's not like the very same second. Okay. So you had a little bit of time. Some of you got a little bond between each other, get to know each other a little better. Mio is still wearing the ninja suit, not convinced to put it off. Yeah, I know. So yeah, Mio, because you missed the last game, let me do a little quick patch up for you personally.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say that Mio is going to do recap. No, nothing.
It's a small recap, but we're on a downtime. We don't need that much of inspiration.
Okay.
So, Mio, as soon as you arrived in the castle, just give me a second. Of course, you went to your room and, to check in on stuff that are going on.
Yep.
Check on Isaac and whatnot.
Indeed.
And as soon as you enter your room, you see like 50 cats sitting everywhere. And the Isaac actually writing something behind your desk.
Yes, I would expect that from you.
He brought all the cats from the mansion that you had, and basically placed them in your room for the time being, as he had no other option. As soon as you enter the room, Isaac almost jumps up from the chair because it's your work desk, and he kind of pulls the chair away and like he never said that. Good day, Master Mio. I was researching as you told me to do. I wasn't sitting in your chair. No.
That's all right. I'll go up and check what he's working on, I guess.
You see, he has a row of books. He was giving him like a task to search for the new spells and whatnot, research as much as possible in the arcane tradition, whatever he can find. So he says, I took my opportunity and I have transcribed 6 scrolls for you. Also, I picked up these books in the local stores, and he kind of flaps down a stack of books, maybe like waist high. says, yeah, they are all about the arcane and whatnot, dark magic, as you prefer.
Mm.
If you wish to browse them, I mean, they are at your disposal. But he kind of whips out like a paper and says, "This is the amount of money that I spend on this all," and he kind of puts you some sort of a check,
Huh. All right.
like 400 gold over there.
Ah, fucking interns. Yeah. I'll pay him.
Very good, very good. I will be returning the money. Oh, by the way, he kind of scratches his head and says, there was a man in the scroll shop that was looking for you. You took his teleportation scroll and never paid. Is that true?
What? Slash, I must go see him immediately. Yeah, I'll fake him for the books.
So he goes back to work, and you have 6 scrolls.
All right.
You may investigate them later.
Okay.
And you recall that earlier when you were solving the issue with the Keth, in the time you took 1 scroll of teleportation by the cost of 700 gold and never paid.
Really? I don't recall doing that. Guess there you go.
I do recall.
Then I will go pay for it, I guess.
All right.
And I recall my notes.
So as soon as you arrive in the shop, a man just jumps over his work desk and rushes towards you, like putting a finger in your face, like, "You! I was waiting for about half of the fucking year until you come and pay up. I hope you brought the money. I need them now, and there may be coming with some kind of a bonus."
Well, okay. I was surprised you noticed who I was.
Huh. Because you were still the fucking tube of my scroll, and when you enter my shop door, it indicates who are you. If
Interesting.
you're under some sort of a guise, it doesn't change your name.
Well, I'm not under any sort of disguise. Anyways, how much do I owe you?
He opens the book, rifles through the pages, and says, 700 gold.
Well, here, I'll give him 8 for the...
Very well.
Yeah. Sorry about the troubles. I simply forgot to pay, apparently, even though I don't normally forget things.
He kind of shakes his head, like, huh, he says, but you didn't forget to drink several potions of youth, I see.
Yes, something like that. He smiles.
Had money for those, but not for my scrolls. Don't expect me to pay you the same courtesy next time.
Is he saying I stole them from him?
No, he's saying, like, don't expect the same kind of favor next time when you come.
Oh, yeah, of course. He says, well, I hope we can at least be cordial. And he smiles and probably gets the hell out of there.
Okay, the man slams the door behind you.
Yeah, that's not good. Well, you know, this is what assistants are for.
Okay, so Um, all the scrolls that you get from Ezek are different levels. I would suggest you to pick 2 scrolls level 2, 2 scrolls level 3, 1 scroll level 4, and 1 scroll level 5, as what Ezek has found on your preference.
2 2s, 2 3s.
2 2s, 2 3s, 1 4, and 1 5.
Okay. All right, I'll find them.
Okay. Later on, wrong floor. Okay. Later on, after the ball has held and basically businesses in the town are mostly finished, you gather up almost before your departure to the Warmongers temple, and Nusi's kind of checking up on your equipment and whatnot, because she was planning to train you there as well as the Warmongers will train you. What you guys are up to? What you going to do?
Well, as preparations for going to the Warmonger's Island, Mara is taking on for leaving behind several of her items in her room, including Kitten's purr, her gauntlets, a few other things, and
Yeah.
a full list, and changing into the new clothes that she's going to be wearing while on the mission.
I mean, you're going to the Warmongers Island, and from there you will go to directly to the Greylands.
Yeah.
Haven't selected the route yet. Even will you go to the Oak Whale and use the local services of travel via plans, or you will go for the ship and sail?
Mara's basically trying to get used to not having the gauntlets anymore right now.
All right.
Mia's late.
Like,
Because why not?
past the guards, and some of them chuckle and like say, "Nice outfit, Master Mio."
He says, "Thank you. You can't see me though."
Oh wait, he kind of looks around. Where is Mio?
That's what I thought, and I'm just gonna walk by. Ninja. It's like permanent invisibility.
Yeah, imagination of invisibility.
Hey, a horrible thought just occurred to me. We're going to be going on an actual stealth mission soon with Mio. Oh God!
I
Just a
cannot punch
question.
Mio, he's pregnant. I cannot
I thought
punch Mio, he's
I-
pregnant.
I thought the new rules was that we stay in character.
Yeah, just try to keep it in character, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No, you're fine, I believe.
And I'm fine too. That's exactly what Mara would say.
But you wasn't doing it as Mara.
Honestly, that did kind of sound in character for Soros as well. Just think like, oh God, I'm gonna go on a stealth mission with him soon.
Not punch Mio, he's pregnant.
Man, there's something wrong with my character sheet. It's not opening right.
That's maybe because you're a ninja now.
Okay, I got it.
So you get up in the throne room, backpacks packed and whatnot. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to have my stuff and be ready to leave on time.
I'm probably the latest, unless someone wants to be later.
Nisi, you're in charge of this thing. Command people.
Alana, can you give me a little help with my pack over here? I am not used to being as it being this heavy, even though I removed like 80% of what I normally have in it.
You're sounding like you're next to a fan. Just saying.
It is really loud background noise, yeah.
That better?
Sounds good.
Nisi is currently taking notes on everybody and the way they stand and move.
Alright.
Yeah, well, I described that to you, so you know how that is.
Yep.
I'm going to sneak in.
Roll stealth.
Yeah, roll stealth.
Oh, 23.
Why are you even proficient in stealth?
Well, you're not actively trying to perceive anything. You're like packing up stuff and like Neo sneaks in unseen, unheard.
Then I relax on the ship. Wait, or
Is
wherever.
everyone that's going with us here?
Neo is missing.
Well, then he gets left behind to the ship.
Wait, what? Going to a thing. Wait, what?
I head in the direction of the harbour.
Okay, so you're picking the ship. All right, Neo, I suppose you're sneaking behind them, right?
Well, yeah. I was going to try to sneak ahead of them and be on the ship and be like, where were you guys?
All right. That's a possibility too. So,
Well, as I described to Nishi, I am moving quietly and being observant of the things that are around me at all times.
so it takes you a couple of hours to get to the harbor, to the very same harbor where you have encountered the Blackbeard and where the Celesh was driven from. Hagmir, Rosie, and Yeslin is accompanying you, like, you know, to say the farewells and goodbyes and whatnot. And eventually, it's a warm, sunny day. The sky is clear and there is no evidence of the possible storm. It's getting a little bit colder. The air is sort of damper as the autumn came. You walk into the dock streets and you don't see that much people around. But the ship is awaiting you, and it's a small sloop. There is not a big crew like working and chucking crates with supplies and whatnot onto the deck. And Valana, as you walk upon the street, you get pulled back by your mother, like by the shoulder, and she waits until everyone like walks past. Then she says, "Listen, each time you leave the jail, my heart is bleeding, and I'm very, very, very worried about you. Every time I come into your room and see your armor almost destroyed, dented, and bent. I cannot imagine what kind of dangers you face. But please, take care of yourself and take care of your friends. Come back to me.
Valana just smiles and nods and say, I do plan to not die, Mother. I want to keep you all to my own and make it safe and secure. I have friends who take care of me equally as they take care of equally as I take care of them. So you should not worry.
She kind of becomes a little more pale and says, after I saw Rurik die in that arena, I cannot be calm. I cannot be calm and not worry about you. It's impossible. You're my daughter. She kind of hugs you and pulls you really, really tight into her arms. Then says, your armor smells. Pushes you away a little. Says, get out of here. Just go. I will wait for you.
Remember Melgoth, who taught me the ways of my defense? I will return, Mother. And I hope one day I can just settle down in Jol, but currently my friends need me.
She
Simple as that.
says, yes, I absolutely understand. Because of your travel, we had to basically cancel all the meetings with the trading guilds, and until you return, we will manage to do something, and we will maybe go for that offer about the protection of the city to that marquise. But Jill needs you. She kind of brushes your cheek and says, go, don't make me cry again.
She kind of giggles and she starts leaving her and waving her goodbye and a little bit heartbroken, but
she kind of yells from far away, like, make sure you eat well! All
She
of you!
will.
Don't worry, I'll make sure Valana eats well, and I'll make sure she stays safe.
I make no promises.
Yell, Silas, I will kill you!
You can count on me to protect Valana and make sure she's eating right and staying safe.
Mm-hmm.
Slava, there was something I forgot that I wanted to do. I asked you about it, but I got no answer. So, when Valana got back from the festival with Mara, she would obviously inspect that box.
Yeah, the tiara. As you, well, actually roll history. As you look at the tiara, it doesn't actually stand out as anything special for you. And you kind of look at it. Yeah, it's pretty and looks really, really old. Isa, on your roll, no, this is a sloop. It's not a big ship. It's a simple, almost like a fishing boat, but reconstructed into just cargo traveling, and delivering kind of a ship. There is no captain. There is like only sailors walking around, like pulling ropes and securing the decks and boards. They kind of say, "All right, I hope it's not your first travel on the seas, and everybody knows what to do in the storm. Everybody knows where to go to toilet and stuff like that, right?"
Yep, I also know what to happen when this ship sinks again.
So,
Where's the
if-
toilet?
I mean, if Valana did not find any clue or message in the box, she would like to have rolled an insight to try and figure out what the intent of it was.
Roll an insight. Okay. You think that's some sort of a family relic that was passed from like century to century to century, from one man to another, to a woman to another, and so on. It's probably related to, let's say, Jial or its story.
So, like, no hidden intentions of reminding her of her duties or shit like that. Just a "I love you, my daughter" kind of thing, almost.
No, nothing like that. Just like acknowledgement of something.
Okay.
All right. So, all aboard! Yells one of the sailors and kind of knocks on the mast.
Already there. Ninja. Apparently.
So,
How the fuck do you have a +7 in stealth?
Because I chose one of my skills as stealth. What?
Yeah, I am baffled as well. But then again, it's Mio, so why the flip not?
No, remember, I'm not responsible if the ship sinks.
says, unfortunately, we don't have a helmman. Someone can practice in that endeavor if you want.
Silas just looks at me and goes, no.
I would, but I don't know if I have the strength to man the to control the helm right now.
Of requiring some strength, and I will give you a couple lessons, and you don't know when you will need that.
I guess I could take some lessons, although I don't know if I'm strong enough to do that right now.
Looks at you, says, well, in the first place, it's a sort of a weird endeavor to see a cat traveling by water.
Oh, trust me, it's weirder for me. Every single time I've been on a ship, it either catches on fire or sinks.
And he kind of looks at you with a little worry. Said, uh-huh. Is it related to you specifically, or is it was like an accident?
One time I caused it, the other 2 times were accidents.
He rubs his forehead and says, all right, here we go.
That wasn't that time we did that, the ship got blown up.
What?
You remember that time, like, as a character, you remember that time when everyone was seeing me and we blew up a ship? And then it got another one.
It does this every now and then. It does it every now and then.
Yeah, question, has this, quit our character, has this body ever been on a boat and it's gone well?
Nishi decided that we're going by sea, so.
Well, we're going to an island.
Trust boats at this point.
Do you have dimension door, Silas?
Well, yeah, yes, I do.
Good, then we will be okay.
It only goes so far.
Well, it just saved us once when we were capsized after a ship sank, so
While I'm looking for a place out of the way to put my stuff, I'm quietly singing a song. What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor?
It's like, one of the sailors walked by and says, "That song is outdated."
Well, my good man, you will have a couple of days to bring me a few new songs by, and I do hope they are much more entertaining than that one.
Says, "Yeah, we don't really sing a lot of shanties, but there is one. Let's say more creative one. His name is Andre. He's from far continents. He sings in some weird language we don't even understand. Sounds melodic."
I still try to learn it, and I will try to learn it over the next couple of days and make a note that I'll have to work out what it is. But I'm sure I will enjoy it nonetheless.
Yeah, sure. So, as you say, like, there's like accidents and stuff, one of the sailors kind of ushers others into the corner and they speak a little bit and they unload a couple of barrels of powder onto the dock and say, "Well, nothing to explode here now. We had some sort of a deal going on, but seems it's not the case now."
Why can't you continue a deal? Our presence should not interrupt your trade.
Listen, you're quite sure that something will happen. Let's say we made sure that something is not an explosion.
Okay. Looking at
Yeah,
Mayo.
good luck with that.
Looking at Mayo. Okay, that I do understand.
Mia's not there.
Yeah, we'll send that.
Looking around in the direction that I would expect Mayo to be. Saying, okay, that I do understand.
He's in a crow's nest.
Just Mio sticking his nose over the side.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any assistance, I will offer it. I'm not necessarily trained in this way, but I am willing to learn and willing to help.
We managed to gather, like he says, 5 men to maintain the boat, but not everyone agreed to travel first to the Pearl and then to the Greylands. They think that this is not a good idea, and pretty much passed. Well, we 5, he kind of looks at the other people, we need coin. To be honest, it's
Okay.
just out of necessity.
Well, as I said, if you need any hands for the basic labor, to be honest, I'd rather scrub decks or peel potatoes than sit around doing nothing.
Says, yeah, if you cook, you're free to do that. He kind of still looking for a guy or a person who would steer the wheel.
Not trading that.
Like, comes to Og, like tries his biceps. Says, "You seem pretty strong. Want to try yourself as a wheelman?"
Helmsman.
I know that's Hellsman, but
I just
says, "Try yourself as a helmsman.
saying.
Navigate the fucking ship you're thinking about. Had a wild night yesterday?" He kind of looks at you and winks. Good. He kind of ushers you to the what's that face? All right. And They kind of yell several commands between each other and says, "Are we ready to go? Cut the ropes!" And he kind of swings, and one rope just falls, and the ship slowly steers into the sea. And he says, "Half sails! Ready for maneuvers!" And you slowly turn around and sail through the river into the sea. Og, I would like you to make a strength check to see how good you are at. Oh boy. Okay, next several hours, you spend basically unstucking the ship that collapsed into reefs and like caught the bottom of the river. Like you dive down and remove like several obstacles in the way. Then everyone is wet, and Og is kind of like standing sheepishly at the wheel. Says, and one of the sailors comes and says, "Right, this time, don't take too much to the left. Try to steer somewhere in the middle of there, all right?"
Oh god, we're all gonna die.
Make another strength check.
Stop shaking the ship.
Okay. This time it's kind of better, but you know, the first experience was sort of that you will remember. And yeah, you finally catch the wind and travel into the opened sea. Do-do-do. So, it's gonna be like a couple of weeks of the travel.
On our way, I would like to cast this.
Come again?
I would like to cast us a few times on our current objective to see what I can figure out about it.
Oh, you need material components of incense.
Okay.
At least 250. Okay, there you go.
You're
Okay.
Do you have that?
I would assume I bought some, yes. Before we
Okay. Alright. Let's say you bought a couple, at least.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of spells use incense, so I assume I have some.
Okay.
I'll take some of my money off.
So, name. What are you looking for? Name, person, place, or object?
About the place we're going to.
The name, please?
I don't know what place we're going to, but I'm sure Mio knows.
Warmonger's Temple.
Warmonger's Temple.
Okay. You cast this spell, and it's some sort of like evasive story about one place that took many purposes in the past. In the first place, it was the Temple of Eternal Fire, and it was placed directly in a active volcano.
Oh boy!
And volcano erupted and basically destroyed the fuck from the people that were inhabitants of this temple.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, the volcano died and left the place empty. But later, smugglers, thieves, and whatnot, people that were looking for a good hideout, was using that temple until eventually they were banished by a group of powerful mages and fighters
Alright.
of warmongers.
Ooh. Alright.
The warmongers are actually kind of renowned because of you get the spell were renowned because of their sturdiness and the possibility to cast spells in hot combat under all circumstances. They manage to push it through and maintain the needed enchantment or spell active at all times.
Mio seems a bit excited about going to this temple.
Okay. Also, they were renowned as remarkable fighters and almost immortal people that have achieved some sort of possibility to prolong their life until the point of like centuries and millennia.
Now I'm very interested.
There you go.
Alright,
That's one spell for you.
cool. That's pretty much what I'm doing on my way.
Okay. Day 3.
Quick question. As we were sailing, what was the spell scrolls I had?
Oh, you had identified those things.
Yeah.
I believe I gave you the description.
I can't remember what the spell scrolls were.
Yeah, you should have took a note.
I thought I did, apparently I didn't.
And you possibly think that I remember.
I don't know, assuming you have notes.
I mean, I don't make notes at all. I write this scenario, but I don't make notes. Especially on loot. It's supposed to maintain in your check sheets. But you know that you have the biggest scroll of the gate that you never tried to imply or learn or whatever?
Well, I can't use gate yet because it's too high a level.
Well, you can actually, but it's a DC check.
No, but you can't learn a spell that is
But
higher
you cannot
level.
learn, yes.
Yeah.
Can use, but cannot learn.
I will use the downtime on the ship to learn things from Nisi if she takes the time to teach it longer. Or if she
Okay.
takes the time to teach me. No,
So will I, and I'll ask, and I'll say to Valana, Valana, you should join us over as well over here. I'm sure you could learn some interesting stuff from her.
How about letting Nisi actually decide if she teaches us first?
Yeah.
Easy. Teach us.
Everyone just huddles in a circle around her.
Yeah, it's a small sloop. So when you all get up on the deck, and like on the top deck, and it's a little, lack of space, and unless someone is like getting to the upper deck to steer the wheel or get into the crow nest and so whatsoever. But on the day 3, sailors kind of invite you in the evening when there is no wind and you kind of like floating in the middle of the ocean to play the game of the rope.
Why
Which
not?
is?
Sounds interesting. I'm up for it.
The game of what?
Says, simple enough. We will tie everyone to the mast. One rope is untied. It just looks like that. You pick a rope and you jump out of the ship.
Uh-huh. And are you guys playing as well?
Of course, he kind of ties himself.
Seem
I'm
dangerous
gonna
as
have a
well.
very close look at the ropes to make sure I pick the right. Don't pick the right rope. The right rope being the one that's not tied.
It's sort of like, the impossible knots just bunch of ropes lying all together, and you see like 10 ends going to the mast.
Slubber,
It's
I
indecisible.
spent 10 days. I spent 10 days untangling 10 kilos of wool thread. I'm sure I could spend a bit of time examining this.
The rules does not let you examine those. You just pick an end.
You never said that. So until somebody tells me that, I look.
Okay, so he says, just pick the end. It's gonna be fun.
Well, I grab an end. Why not?
Alright.
I grab an end as well.
Okay,
Ah,
and
fuck
like,
it.
Colonna.
So I suppose an end as well.
okay. He kinda says, we'll drop an anchor so we don't lose ourselves, and he kinda lowers the anchor and falls into the water. Says, hope anyone. So I hope no one has an allergy on the sharks.
Mhm.
And he kind of like giggles to himself. All right. So, first of all, he kind of says, run around the mast as much as you can in one direction until I clap, and then in the other direction when I clap again. And after I clap the third time, jump out into the water.
This all seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah, well, somebody's gonna die.
I wrap the rope around my wrist. I hold it, wrap it around the wrist, and grab it again so that I've got a good solid grip on this rope.
Okay?
Yeah, Valana will do similar.
Mm-hmm.
Neo just shakes his head and
Same.
says, "First."
Last three whispers, yes, 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 and for the fourth, yes.
Hey.
Okay. So you start running around, he claps, and you start running around in the other direction. I would like you all to make a dexterity check to see how good it is. Who is participating?
Hmm.
Do-do-do.
Oh, what type of check?
Dexterity.
Dexterity? Alright.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not the
Uh-oh.
lowest.
Yeah.
I'm not
Uh-oh,
the
Neo.
lowest. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm actually one of the highest.
God, we all
It's a bit
failed.
scary.
Okay. As you run around this mast, and eventually it just like running around round in rounds, head starts going dizzy because the ship itself like also sort of shifts in place, and you know the seasickness takes over a little bit more when you run around, and then you run in the other direction, and you get like lightheaded and bump into each other, and see one of the
Okay. At that point, I pull out. No, this is just silly. Not going to jump off a ship when I'm lightheaded and
and
unable to concentrate. No,
and
I
one
don't
of
do it.
the sailors jumps out, and you hear like ah, and you see rope like goes into the water.
As I
Well,
said, I'm
he's
not jumping when I'm lightheaded and unable to concentrate.
And one of the sailors kind of like looks over over the board and says, "Ah, God damn it, idiot! You were supposed to give them the rope without no end. How did you manage to mix that up?" And he's like,
I'm sorry, what?
"Fuck you! Pull me out!" Says, it's nothing. We wanted to make a little joke. And he kind of climbs on the ladder on the side of the board. Yeah, Og, you're still you're not steering right now because its anchor is down. He kind of pulls up himself over the board, shaking. The water is cold, and says, "I'm not fucking playing that game anymore." It's your own fault. You get back to the fucking lower deck. Get yourself some clothes.
Pretty fun game, I guess.
It is, he kind of says. To be honest, it's not like a game. It's just to check how, let's say, light-hearted you are, and if you are brave enough to risk to jump down into Shark's mouth. It's a way to know each other better. But unfortunately, we have idiots in our crew, so.
Oh, don't worry, I have idiots in ours as well.
Yes, and we will have a common language pretty much soon. Day 5. It's getting a little boring in this place. There is not much space to do things, and the only thing that you can do is like stand on the board and fish, or just look into the sea, or sleep, or eat.
All things Leo likes doing.
Mio, you're getting extra sick every day, and the further in it's worse because of your state.
No. Bleh.
You forgot you were pregnant, didn't you?
Bleh. No.
Okay. So, I need someone to roll a 1d100 to see what happens.
I have not have good luck with rolls, so I am not.
Okay, 66. Not ominous at all.
If it was 666, I'd be cheering because that's
It's
the best luck
600, come on.
nothing can happen.
I like Og's roll, 42.
No, we're not on the improbability ship.
Well, I will take the first result, so 66. Okay, it's actually not that bad. Eventually, who is gonna fish? Because it is required to have some fresh food on the
Well, I
ship.
did volunteer for such things, so I gather it'll be me.
All right.
And volunteer fishing. That sounds fun.
You kind of stand on the same, let's say, on the starboard and lower your fish bowls, and I need you to roll perception, both of you.
Oh, that is Falana really good at.
Okay. Alondra, you don't notice anything.
I'm concentrated on those. Fishing. I'm concentrated on fishing.
No, so Alondra, you kind of like cannot to catch the fish for the last hour, and you kind of start like looking around and whatnot, and you see the dark cloud comes from the direction you're going into.
That doesn't seem good at all.
Captain, I see something really big ahead of us in the water.
Sailors kind of look at each other. We don't have a captain.
Well, sorry. She just blushes. Yeah, sorry. There's something big and dark in the water ahead of us.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and she says, "Someone to the crow's nest."
I'm already up there. What's up?
Okay, I need you to make a perception check, Mio, with advantage because you're in the crow's nest.
Perception.
Okay, 22. You see a large dark cloud, and you look like squint your eyes a little bit, and it's not just a storm. It's a whirling tornado on the horizon.
I start climbing down from the crow's nest.
Yeah, shit.
I'll say, yeah, it's bad up there, guys, and I'm going down below. See ya.
I see it. Valana is tempted to slap me.
Okay. Like sailors, it's just like, what did you see? And you're like, it's bad. I'm going down. Like, the fuck happened?
Valana is going to climb up the crow's nest and look for herself.
Okay, make a perception check. Advantage, of course. So yeah, you see a mid-sea tornado in the middle of the storm.
I see a storm ahead with a tornado.
And like you see, they are looking up all into the crow's nest, like open mouthed, like waiting for the info, and all like almost at the same time say, "Shit."
Yeah.
Grabbing a rope and fixing myself to a good solid safe spot.
They kind of wait for you to come down, and they ask like, "So guys, we have two options. We go through it, depending on how important is your mission, or we straps ourselves out and to the ship, and we wait out here and hope the storm will not come upon us."
I go find the driest part of the ship and stay there.
So they kind of looking for someone to make a decision.
What do you recommend? You're the one who know the sea better than us.
Listen,
Yeah.
I can risk everything, and we can push through the storm, but we may have some casualties.
Then we take the safer option. Simple as that.
Yeah, but there is a
Then
best
I
thing.
look at Nishi going bright red. Sorry, I shouldn't be stepping on toes.
Can we go around it somehow?
It seems large. I don't think we will make it. We're just slow.
Og having an idea is usually not good, so Valana is generally going to ignore his. Yeah, I got an idea. And
Yeah, the last Og idea led to Mio getting the dragon screwed out of him.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you casting, Mog? Pam, pam, pam.
Ooh, that could work.
Or water.
Maybe.
Okay, it will give you 10 minutes in the storm.
10 minutes, Og.
Nishi,
We
what
are
do you say?
saved.
That's not too long.
Nishi, what do you say?
Okay, how much uses do you have in, if you do that, the hole will stay, if the ship moves, the hole will stay in the middle of the ocean.
Neo knows that,
Uh,
so I don't do it.
It is tied to a specific location, so if the object moves.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't want to do that, yeah.
So, Og, 3 uses, so you have a half an hour. Make an intelligence check, please. Yeah, you think you'll make it. Absolutely.
Yeah, Valana doesn't think that is a valid plan because it's Og. She doesn't need to make an intelligence save or wisdom save or any save. It's coming from Og. We should not rely on his ideas. I'm sorry, Chad, but
History is a thing.
So just
So,
to clarify,
do?
Slava, is it a tornado or is it a hurricane?
From this distance, you see like whirling tornado on the top of the water, and it is like in a storm cloud, and it's sort of pulling water inside of it.
So it's a large water funnel.
Yeah.
Alana looks over at Nisi and says, I think we should try and wait it out. I don't feel it's important enough to risk any lives, but it's in the end up to you, Nisi.
Okay, oh, make a nature check, actually.
Is it headed for us or running parallel to us?
Make a perception check, Nisi. Okay, Nisi, you are not sure. It's sort of going diagonal. Og, you think the current wind blowing in your direction, but a little like to the southwest. It will, if you stay here, it will lick you at least like for maybe a quarter of an hour. So yeah, you will still get into the storm, but it will not last long. Okay, and they kind of looking at each other. So what are you implying? We stay?
Drop the anchor, pull in the sails, and we stay.
All right.
As I said, I tie myself solid to the ship.
I can help tie down any of the ropes if you need somebody to help with that. I'm pretty good at climbing up and down things pretty quickly.
I tie my stuff.
And make sure you tie yourself to things too.
Says, so yeah, crew says, remove the sails, hide every possible cargo into the lower deck, tie yourselves to the mast or to the board. Tie yourselves really good. We're standing the storm. And he kind of looks up into the sky, says, God save our souls.
Alana is going to help out to the best of her abilities, then just down.
Okay. I would like those who are helping with the cargo make a strength check and see how fast and good you can secure the needed supplies.
I'd be helping tie down the sails.
Okay, that's gonna be athletics.
As long as he's mage hand to tie down sails.
Mio spotted.
No, it's impossible. It cannot lift such a weight.
Sis, can you hold this barrel while I quickly fix it?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, Sheena, what are you doing? Helping with the boxes
Helping with
or
the sails.
with the sails? All right.
Yeah.
Sheena is actually feeling quite confident on this situation. She's kind of using her natural like magic to climb up, like calling to the vines and pulling herself up with them. And Mara on the other side goes, well, as a cat, using her claws and like climbs the mast really fast and
20-foot climbing speed, always a good thing to have.
yeah, and like just
Wait,
throws herself at the sails and pulls them up.
There's one gameplay thing I can need to ask. Does the monk speed also go to the climbing speed or just to the foot speed?
Your climbing speed is always half of your normal speed.
Well, no, because as a Neko, she gets a 20-foot climbing speed, so I was just wondering, does the monk speed get added to that as well?
No, the best option is used.
Oh,
What?
okay. Gotcha.
So when you get to the 60 feet of movement, normally you will get 30 points of climbing speed and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
Got
if
it.
you already have a climbing speed, wouldn't that make it so that you just have a normal climbing speed?
We'll
No,
discuss this
Necro,
more
stop.
afterwards.
So eventually, cargo is not fully brought down to the lower deck, and you think the storm is about to come, and it's like 5 minutes until you are entering the cloud. So I would like you all to make another dexterity checks and see how good you tie yourselves to the environment around you, and tell me where specifically you're trying to fix yourself.
To the mast itself.
Okay. Well, you kind of like throw a rope around yourself, but you know you're holding the crate that you didn't get to put into the lower deck, and eventually you just tangle up yourself like absolutely disastrously.
I tie myself to the mast, wrapping the rope also around Valana.
I was gonna say that.
Thank you. Valana just says sheepishly.
Mara, maybe it was better that Alandra did it.
Yeah.
Og, the guy comes to you and like just puts a rope around your waist, and you see that this rope actually has a hook with a small metallic how do I say, carabin, or I don't remember, and then it clicks upon the lower pillar that the wheel is holding on, and he says, "You're staying here, man. I wish you luck." Okay, Mio, you're not tied. Oh boy. It's holding you not to be hurled off the fucking ship.
Yes, but I'm not up deck. I'm
No,
in
no,
the.
I was responding to Og.
Oh.
You can remove it, no problem. So I still don't see Fushina's check on the dexterity. Now I see it. Oh boy. Where do you tie yourself?
She
The
said
mast.
she's gonna tie herself to the mast.
Okay, so you're 4 tied upon the
I
mast.
wanted to roll it myself, but can't because it crashed.
I know, but Slava needed it done, so I rolled it for you.
Okay.
Okay. So eventually you enter this storm cloud. Og, what are you doing? Okay. As you drop the wheel and you enter the storm, the ship begins to spin in the fucking storm like it's going nuts.
Uh-oh.
I guess I was going to run to the wheel and try to grab it since we're good spying out of control.
Okay, you didn't tie yourself at all.
Yeah, well, he did tie himself. Oh, no, he did tie himself. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
you didn't tie yourself at all.
Can he try? No, I said he did.
Said but didn't roll.
Oh, didn't it? Oh, I thought it did. Hold on.
Okay, if you tie yourself, you will need to do something about that.
Earlier.
I mean, to untie yourself, it will be probably impossible.
Can I try to use Mage Hand to try to, like, stabilize it a little bit?
No, the mage hand is lifting such weights as like 5 pound maximum.
The ship wheel, it has like spokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Valana is going to cast spiritual weapon, and she's going to jam the weapon in between the spokes.
A ethereal. It doesn't have a physical form.
The helm, most small ships, regardless the moment they have a helm, they have a special way of fixing it. So unless they don't have that, which would be stupid, it should actually have that.
Yeah, I mean, they have left Og to control the wheel, but he said, "Oh, fuck you! I'm going to the crow's nest."
I'm going to the crow's nest now.
Okay, considering we're spilling out of control and everyone else is tied down, I guess, yeah, so I was going to cast Arcane Hand and have that ground.
Alright. That should do it.
Arcane hand?
Arcane Hand is a giant fist with a strength of 26.
Big Beast Hand!
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Beast Hand.
Okay, so you just changed the name?
No, it's all called Arcane Hand on the Roll20 for some reason.
Yeah, that's correct.
Weird.
I know.
So yeah, I would like you to make a strength check using the 26.
It's copyright issues.
20 plus 8.
They are collaborating with D&D, I don't understand. Okay, the 13 is unfortunately not enough. You're like tied and you have... Wait! That spell requires all the components. And you're tied down. You have no way to cast a spell.
Could he like wiggle one of his hands free and do it?
Well, if you free one hand, you have tied yourself by 6. I will immediately ask you to make a dexterity saving throw to not fall over the board.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so you kind of untie yourself, you stumble upon and you kind of almost fall, but you grab a rope and kind of stabilize yourself, and you press against the mast with your legs and kind of looking around it, and the rain comes in and starts pouring over your face and the lightning strikes. And now you need to let go and cast the spell.
Oh, he needs one hand to do that.
And also an eggshell, and so both hands.
Well, excellent and a snake skin glove, but you can use your like arcane focus and place some materials, can't you?
If it doesn't cost too much.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything.
Well, snakeskin glove costs about maybe 10 to 15 gold.
That's
You
not
need
very
2
much.
hands, I'm just saying.
Well, actually, not really, because you can slip a snake and go over one of them and then use that from there. Oh. Okay, fine. He's going to try and tie himself back up then, as soon as he can't even use arcane hands to try and fix it.
Okay, so I would like you to roll the strength check with your hand again.
Okay. $20.
Okay, 20. You grab the spinning wheel and it's kind of, you see like even the hand goes a little bit to the side, but then it steers and the ship stops to spin that wildly and kind of fixates itself in one place for a moment, but it's still shaken by the waves and crashing that are crashing into the starboard.
Shaking, but not spiraling out of control, at least.
Okay, you concentrate on that situation for 1 minute, and you kind of, as soon as you get the spell, kind of grab the rope and just look at the hand so it works properly. Og, I would like to ask, what are you exactly doing with your spell? There are options that it provides. What exactly are you doing? Redirect the flow, create the whirlpool, part the water, or make the float.
Wait, are you doing control water or control weather?
He controls water, not weather.
Yes, control weather would probably be a little better.
So, what are you trying to do? To basically push away the waves, or what? All right. Okay, make an Arcana check to see how good you are about it because it's a storm. It's not like a river. It's sporadic, chaotic, but you kind of manage to spread your spell the way it stops like violently shaking the ship. But let me see. Corellum, I would like you to make a dexterity save. Yeah, so Corellum makes way to the wheel, and you see his kind of struggling against the rain that goes right into his face, and he's kind of covering his eyes with one hand and climbing, holding to the board. Eventually gets to the wheel, and about that time, Silas, your spell wears off, and Corellum grabs the whelm. So, Corellum, I would like you to make a strength check to see if you can replace Silas's hand.
Could I use athletics for that?
Can I cast a guidance on him?
Does guidance have a somatic component?
It's a cantrip.
It has components anyways.
Yeah, it has
What's
a
the
somatic
range?
part, yes.
And the range is touch, yeah, so you are
okay.
tied to the mast.
I thought it was okay.
Neil, I would like you to make 3 dexterity saves while you are tossed around inside of the ship with the cargo.
All right. Let's save.
Corellum, you are not trained in this specific thing, so it's going to be just a strength check. Okay, Neil, you take 25 points of damage as you swing about the ship and you make a big bump on your head.
Ow!
Okay.
Drive better!
So, as you grab the whelm and you kind of pull with all your might against it, one of the handles on it just like cracks, and you lose the wheel for just 1 second. It spins wildly, spinning the ship again. Silas, make a dexterity check. Dexterity or strength check. To hold on or to...
Ah, fuck.
Okay, so you see Silas kind of slides with the rope and tumbles over the board. And you take 5 points of damage as you do that.
Okay. Can I try to Misty Step back onto the boat?
On your turn, yes.
Okay. Oh, wait, where's the turn order?
Well, yeah, just give me a second to describe you what you see beyond the water and stuff like that. Okay. So the wheel starts to spin again. Corellum, as you lose the grip to the wheel, I would like you to make a dexterity save too.
Oh my god, I'm on the ship alone.
The ship goes like Tokyo Drift style, and you see Corellum like just slips down on the water that is going over the top deck, and just tumbles and almost like flies over the board, and falls into the water with a giant like sound. Silas, as you fall, you look down into the water. I would like you to make a perception check.
Okay.
Easy.
Is it because I have dark vision? Or...
dark vision is not underwater vision.
If it's dark underwater, that might help a bit. I don't know.
Water is considered just obscure territory. You don't have disadvantage. I'm giving you just
Oh,
straight
God.
check. Oh,
Oh my.
So as you fall into the water, you don't notice the reef that is exactly at the place you fall, and you kind of fall and pierce your rib cage with the sharp end of the stone, jagged stone.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and pierce your skin, and you see like several ribs are just.
Oh, fuck, that hurts!
And one of them is cracked. So that would be 25 points of damage to you. Now you can do your turn.
Ow.
Like, Silas, severely annoyed at this point. He's gonna, like, swim over to where Corellum landed. Wait, Corellum landed in the water as well, right?
You see Corellum kind of falls over the board, and the ship, as it steers, kinda goes over Corellum, and he is forced to dive, or else he will be getting battered by the ship mast.
Yeah. So he's gonna dive under the water and try to dive under the water, grab him in the dimension door, and back onto the boat.
Okay, your swimming speed is half of your movement speed.
Yeah, so
I
15.
would like you to make another perception check to see if you even see the Corellum under this chaos and the current and oh boy, you dive under and you don't see him. But what you see is anglerfish floating to your direction.
Ah, shit. Like, okay, so I was going to swing back up to the surface and Misty step back onto the boat.
Okay.
Saba, before I even hit the water, I bring out my radiant soul and let my wings grab hold of the wind.
Oh god, that might be worse.
That's the action, right? That's not reaction.
Yeah.
So you fall into the water and then you like get to the senses and you fly out of it. Okay, so you both get back onto the mast, and Silas, as you kind of teleport to the ship deck, you look down and you see like almost hundreds of the pale, luminous dots in the water.
Uh-oh.
You recognize that all is a flock of anglerfish.
We're so screwed.
No, that's okay. Obviously, we did not pray to the sea gods. Umberlee, take pity on us!
You hear like sailors are yelling tight to the boards like, when you said that something will go wrong, you was not kidding.
I knew it! I foresaw this!
Says
I told you! I never have a ship travel not go wrong!
I blame all of you!
I go back
Just
for the
blame
wheel,
me, it's
Slava.
okay! Even though I said it's not my fault.
So, what if
the storm gets louder, and you don't even hear each other clearly. You need to yell like side by side each other to even hear what you're saying. So the communication at this point is non-existent.
Sign language.
Okay, Valana, what do you wanted?
Well, let's see how Corellius and Silas. Well,
Oh, Silas is back on the ship.
You said it was just like a bog standard shipping wheel, like you expect from wood and all.
Yeah, it's not an expensive, mahogany. It's just simple ship wheel.
Can Valana grab some sort of line? Like, just toss it towards it, hope that it gets entangled, and then just kind of hold on.
First of all, you're tied by 3 ropes. Everyone took care of your situation, and you're kind of entangled in a bunch of ropes. So it will take a good bunch of time. And if you untie yourself, you will also untie Amara and.
I don't want to untie myself. I just want to free my arms.
Make a strength check.
I most
even-
certainly did not tie my arms down because there's no fucking way you could do that and still tie yourself to the mast.
Well, like upper body is tight, but you still have like your hands available to just tie the knot on your
Okay,
belly.
Hands and arms are free, definitely for me.
Okay, so question: while this is going, because I was trying to run over to the ship and use the tiny heart stored in his crystal.
So what are you using?
He stored a tiny heart in his crystal for like an emergency. So instead of a minute cast, it takes an action.
Okay. As you cast this spell.
He runs over to the steering wheel, then casts it to create a bowl around them.
Okay. It doesn't actually cost you an action. It's still a minute. It just stores the spell.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a spell scroll where just.
No.
Yeah.
Are you insane? That would be overpowered if you need like an hour casting spell casted in 1 second. You start to cast it and kind of hold to the wheel. I would like you to make an athletics check to see how good you're holding up.
Oh god. Oh.
Actually, fine. You see. And eventually, you like form this dome over yourself, and the ship just shifts out of it slowly.
Shifts out of it?
Yeah, it's like you're holding in the air in this bubble like a hamster.
No, I think it attaches itself to a surface.
The hot is casted on the surface, yes, but the surface moves. The spell stays in specific location. It doesn't tie itself to the ship or the land. So basically, some sort of like that. You are fine. You're absolutely fine. You're just protected from any harm. You're just sitting in that hamster ball in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, no, he's going to cancel it then.
Okay, so you don't cast it. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I thought that might work.
Kind of like my hidey hole.
Okay, so I was just going to grab the wheel and try to stabilize the ship.
Okay, make a strength check.
There's no way this is going to go well. I knew it.
Oh my god!
I'm a -1 in strength.
Kind of hold the wheel, but eventually it kind of like tugs really, really hard, and the wheel actually pulls you up and throws you down on the deck, and you take 10 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit the boards of this boat. And you see
the wheel again.
You were okay. You see Corellum jumps out of the water, flying, descends down on the ship's wheel, and tries to steer it again.
Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow.
Okay, so he's kind of floating in the air, so he's not affected by the turbulence, and he kind of holds the wheel in place, and the ship kind of settles down. Og, while that was all happening, I would like you to make a dexterity save. Because on the top of this thing, and you are not tied up by any means.
Oh, I did.
You're sitting in the.
I did time.
Okay. If you did tie yourself, I would like you to make a dex save, anyways.
Oh.
Okay. So you're kind of not standing right now in that crow's nest. The rope that you tied yourself by the waist, kind of like falls down, and you stumble back and fall down, and you're just like hanging in the air, still casting the spell, upside down, and like bonking your head on the mast, and you take 10 points of damage because of that. And I like you to make a Constitution saving throw. You're fine. You're maintaining. And you see you're sort of in the middle of the storm. And for a brief moment, it becomes so quiet. while the storm is going, it's like happening to all of you. And you see in front of you, like on the rock, standing, some sort of a figure, like waving his hands, and you see like arcane symbol is casted in the air.
Oh, motherfucker.
It's a dark, towering, high, maybe like 20, 25 feet tall figure standing on the reef.
Can Volana squint her eyes and try and get a better perception?
Yeah, sure. Perception.
That's
Okay. You see a blue-skinned, bearded, 25-foot tall man with like some sort of a leather clothing covered in barnacles and various corals and whatnot. His eyes are glistening white, and they are emanating some sort of like a smoke, and it's casting some sort of a spell.
I'd like to do a insight to see if he's
what?
trying to follow, if he's helping us or actually.
Okay. You can discern the magic that he's casting, if it's aggressive or not. If you roll Arcana.
Well, can I like look at him using insight and see if he's looking really evil and like I'm going to destroy you all, or if he's more like looking like a I'm going to help you all?
Okay, roll insight. He, more than anything, he looks determined. He's about to do something, and it's 100% directed on the ship.
Uh-oh.
Silas, can you determine what he's casting? It's a big, giant blue. Oh, imagine a giant fish, man.
The only thing that you hear from Volana is something like because the rain continues to storm on. There was a moment of silence when you saw this person appear, but now it's again like pouring hell. Isa, as you are hanging around under the lower deck, you see the water becomes a problem in here, and you think if it goes that way, you will drown. Neo, you see a bunch of water come into your room.
Oh shit! Okay, I start getting the important cargo.
Okay, what exactly are you doing? Putting it.
I'm trying to put any important cargo that I can into my bag of holding and secret chest.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check and see how fast you can drop things and whatnot, fit things that don't actually easily.
I am not proficient in that, but damn, I'm good at everything.
Okay, seems like ninja spirit takes over you, and the swiftness of moves, fast as lightning, helps you to figure out this situation almost momentarily. You grab all the possible supplies that you might need and throw it into the bag of holding.
All right.
And you see the water is about knee-high at this moment. Isa, what do you do?
She's going to say something. You can go on to other people.
What?
You're a little quiet.
She's going to say something, and I'm going to send it to you. So, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
All right. You see, as this creature kind of starts yelling and puts his hands into the air, finishing casting, you see an ice cone just erupt from his hands and cover the ship. So who is tied? Make a deck save with disadvantage.
Uh-oh.
Who is untied? Make a normal deck save.
Does that include me?
You make with advantage because you are sort of inside, and
Right.
the icicles kind of break through the mast and through the hole, and you like make holes in the ship.
Okay.
Right. Og? No, you're actually out of range. You're higher up.
Oh, no.
Boy, the critical 0. Okay, it was a DC 15.
Was it?
It was a DC 15, so everyone who didn't make it take 53 points of damage.
Oh!
Cold damage and bludgeoning.
And if you made the save?
If you made, you take half.
So he's literally. Is this guy standing on
I'm
the
sorry,
water?
did I make it?
No.
The guy is kinda, when you look closer, make a perception check.
Okay, now I'm mad.
I'm sorry?
Alondra, make a perception check. Okay, as you look through the darkness and the rain, it's hard to discern, but it seems like he's like floating over the surface. But as he casted this spell, you see an ice cover like appears around the ship, and the ship slows and stops steering almost entirely. And he kind of lowers his hands down and just shakes his head and starts to walk on the surface of the water towards the ship. Isa, I would like you to make this a deck save too.
Alana would like to untie herself and get prepared for the worst.
Okay. So yeah, you make it, so half of damage, 26. Okay, Isa, you're, I believe you're kind of using your intervention or what? Okay, roll a d100. Well, close enough, but you feel like the answer from the Nika comes simple and short. It's not that bad. You will figure.
What?
So, Valana, as you prepare yourself and kind of untie yourself, you see this creature kind of climbs up into the deck and
Yeah, Alandra's
turns
freeing herself
to you.
too because Valana can't free herself unless I free her.
Okay.
I'm doing a heal spell on cure wounds on myself.
So this guy says, like, climbs up and speaks to you. Does anyone speak giant?
Or have comprehend languages.
Oh,
Yeah.
I kind of. Oh, kind of does.
Oh, so you do know the giant language. Jesus.
Not really know the giant language. He can read lips and determine what they're saying, kind of.
So as soon as he starts to speak, you cast comprehend language, Neo.
I can.
You hear the like you are still on the lower deck,
Okay.
and you kind of hear a loud booming noise coming, like someone is stalking.
I'll burst out of the lower deck and say, "First a storm, now an iceberg. What the hell?"
You kind of walk out and you actually notice there is an icicle in your shoulder, like that is piercing you throughout. And as you come up on the mast, you see a giant creature holding the central mast and lowering down and like looking up on you all, standing like on one knee. He says, "Now you will be fine."
I think he was trying to save us. Although, I'll like point at the shard of ice through my shoulder.
He kind of looks at you and shrugs, like, just happens.
I don't think he can understand me because I can't actually speak giant, but I can understand him.
Yeah, you can understand. You kind of pointed toward the icicle. He's just like shrugs and says, "It happens. Better that way than down below to the bottom of the sea." And you see, like in the ice around the ship itself, hundreds upon hundreds those creatures that was dwelling beneath the surface.
The anglers
are frozen. Yeah, are frozen in that ice cube that formed around the ship.
Mm.
You will thank me later.
I'm just like pointing at my wound. Help! 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 Ow!
As you like looking at your wound and you see it, like look at the giant. You see his form is some sort of mutilated, and he's kind of having like some sort of nervousness to himself, and you see like bites across his body everywhere, and 1+1, and you think he was bitten by those fucking antler bastards.
Hmm.
Okay, sits down.
I'll. Yeah. Well, I already said he was trying to save us, so I guess.
Yeah.
I'll just look to everybody. What do we do now?
Says giant looks into the cloud and says, "It will pass soon."
Oh, wonderful! I'll go back below deck.
You go back to below deck and you see like several cracks in the hole, and you see like water seeping in a little bit because it's frozen on the other side. It's not like making a big flow, but
yeah.
When it unfreezes, you will begin to sink.
I'll come back up. Guys, we may need some help below deck. Looks like we might need a few repairs.
Okay, Isa, as you kind of come up to see what happened, you see Neil stumbling down with an icicle in his shoulder. And you look up over the board and you see the giant leaning in, trying not to hit the sails with his head. But no one is having an open conflict.
Do you speak common, giant?
He kind of looks at you. There is a confusion and like he looks up into the sky and says slowly, like picking up the words out of his memory. No, me don't speak.
There you go.
Dwarf?
As you say dwarf, he kind of like snarls.
Valana just tracks. It wasn't. I mean, who knows?
Giants don't like dwarfs. You know,
Yeah, but who knows? It would be kind of comical.
Well, I mean, know the language of your enemy, I guess.
Yeah, that is actually true for one of my characters. That is a whole nother story.
So, several minutes pass, and you see the cloud kind of walks, like drifts away in the sky, and you are out of the zone of this storm. Still frozen.
I guess Mio's gonna try to start repairing the hole.
Okay, what do you do to do that?
Find planks.
Okay, that you can do. Investigation check.
Alright. Sure, there's some around here somewhere.
Okay, as soon as you do, you kind of go through several boxes, and then you like, oh, I put all that into my bag of holding, and you can start living out the planks. You were just in haste and put everything into it. So yeah. Also, you notice, guys, as the storm subsides, 2 members of the crew are missing.
Oh shit.
And
Can Og untie himself now?
if you untie yourself, you will fall.
I mean, like, yeah, I will grab, like, climb up or slide down. One of
Okay, make an athletics check.
Oh, okay. Athletics.
No, you try, but you kind of sort of like, and you're kind of exhausted after this torture, like hanging over, like upside down and casting spells, so you like helplessly, eventually, hang down back and like, help!
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, finally. Sorry, Discord crashed for a while. What happened?
The storm subsided. Ship needs repairs. 2 people are missing.
Oh, which 2?
Crew members.
And there's a giant ice creature in front of us that only speaks giant.
Yeah, but I already told you, he's not really trying to fight us or anything.
Yeah, but like there is still a lot of more questions.
Well, I said the ship needs repairs, and I'm more focused on that.
Clearly.
So yeah, you see Og dangling from the crow's nest, like maybe 10 feet below it. Cannot reach the mast, cannot reach the rope, like, just surrenders.
Should I just shoot him down?
Yes.
Should we just shoot him down?
No, you should not
I
shoot
don't
him.
know.
Can I?
I can't see the map, so I don't know if that's the thing that's happening for everyone.
We can't see the map either.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, there is a world map, and that's
Yeah,
that.
it's
It's the
There is no ship map.
The fear of magic.
Mm.
So yeah, would you kindly help Og down, Mora?
I don't like people saying that.
Of course. Mara will. I will climb up the rigging to get it to where Og is to tie him down, untie him, and let him down.
All right. Make a dexterity check, just for giggles.
He crashed on me.
Valana gets prepared to catch Mio and sorry, Og under him.
Who's doing dexterity?
She's doing dexterity to kind of fish you into the mast and
Yeah.
untie you. Let's see how it goes.
Corey, come here under him and catch him just in case because it's Og.
Mara, dex check.
I can't because roll 20 crashed on me. I just said that.
Alright, I didn't hear that unfortunately. Just give me a second then, I will do it for you. Skill, dexterity.
No.
Ability check, dexterity. 11. Well, you manage after several minutes of struggle to put him to the mast. And you kind of both slide down and climb down.
Hey.
Mio, I would like you to make a wisdom check to see how good you fixed the boat.
Okay. Yes. See, as that's why I was saying the ship needs repairs. Okay, I'm gonna crit this though.
15 is enough.
All right. No, it's all right.
It's a decent work. You
Alright.
you think like I didn't hold the hammer for a long time in my hands. I'm like, yeah, it still works.
Where is Mio right now?
yeah.
Is he on deck or below?
There is a lot of water still inside of the lower deck, and you think the ship is not gonna move as fast as it was going before, and it's sort of kind of tilted to one side.
Okay, I'm gonna go up and get Og. Because I know he can control water. Hey, Og, can you get this water out of the ship?
Sure. Where,
You-
where is it below?
You could just bring a bucket, Mio.
Probably will be a lot of buckets.
Why use a bucket when you can use magic?
Because using a bucket would not be being Mio.
I'll use control water again.
Okay, click it.
Click
So
That's concentration. Yeah.
Because doing something by hand, Mio, sometimes makes things more worthwhile.
so you kind of open the lower deck hatches and just part water until it like gets out of the ship, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think.
Banana is going to have an inspection down below and
Yeah.
she can commending on stuff that Mio has apparently carpented together, which Valana doesn't trust with her life.
I said, hello, people, we need repairs, but no one came!
Because we had some other priorities.
Plus, what the heck are we supposed to do about it? I'm not very efficient with a hammer.
Okay.
While I'm down there, I'll investigate any holes or any damages, and I'll repair with mending.
I see. So you're going all over the mast of the ship, and it takes like good like hour to fix all the possible leaks or future breaks. Lana, you inspect all that and kind of make sure that everything is back to norm.
Mia just
While
says it.
Valana is doing that, she's going to tell to Mio, go and talk with the giant, see if he knows where the missing people went, and thank him for helping us and, being polite for once.
I'm not sure he can understand me,
Well,
but I will try.
yeah, exactly. You're Mio. You'll try everything.
All
I
right.
can't.
You were saying? It sounded like it cut out there.
I'm good.
Oh, okay. Then I guess Mio will head back upstairs and attempt to communicate with the giant. Oh.
Okay. So what do you ask? You see, like, you go upper deck and you see he's sitting sort of sad, I would say, or hurt.
I'll go like tap him on the knee or wherever. I don't know. I don't know how high or how tall he is, but I assume about me, and I'll be like, "Hello, I am Neo Gloomraven. It is a pleasure to meet you."
He kind of looks at you, confused. Says back in giant, I suppose that is a greeting.
Wonderful. Yes, it is a greeting. You are correct, sir.
He repeats in common, like, greeting.
Now, me and my companions would like to thank you for your assistance in helping us from this angler threat.
He kind of makes a confused face, but then says, in giant, I did understand the thank you.
Be a thumbs up, smiles. Are you asking for any compensation?
He question like looking at you, doesn't seem to understand what you're trying to imply. You see he's kind of sitting down and putting some sort of a salve on his wounds and waiting until they cauterize or heal a little bit.
Oh. Are you hurt?
He nods and shows at the wounds.
I have friends that might be able to help you. Just one moment. Go back downstairs. Anyone want to help heal our friendly giant buddy? I look around. Come on, people.
I will do it. Standing up and going up with him.
All right. He's quite nice.
I will take your word for it.
You always can, Mio smiles.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but okay.
Mio, there
Yes?
is one way I know I can trust you, and that is that I cannot trust you. You're very
Why does everyone
unpredictable.
say that?
You're
I'm
very
sorry.
unpredictable, and that makes it very difficult to trust you.
Can I use cure wounds on him?
Yes.
Alondra, you have a terrible background noise. It's like 10 people speaking.
Who do you want to use cure wounds on?
I will go to him
The
and
giant.
use cure wounds on him.
Yes. Please, come help.
Okay. You see Fushina and Alondra, you walk up to the giant. You see he kind of looks at you both and says something like, Durugaril. And Neo, you understand, they are so weird.
Mio just laughs and says, "It's so true! It's so
By the
true!"
power
Why
of
isn't
the
it
one, may
working?
your wounds find healing.
Okay, he kind of sees that you touch him, like to cast the spell. He kind of reflexively flinches back,
It'll
and
be all right.
then puts hand down and accepts the magic. Okay, you kind of both take his hands and relay your healing into him, and he kind of after you finish, he takes like a little barnacle from his vest, picks it off, and gives to each one of you a small, like, well, quite pretty shell. It says in giant, "Do." And Mew, you understand, gift.
He offers you a gift for healing him. Are you feeling better?
He responds in common, better.
I accept his gift.
And as soon as he kind of gets rested and healed, whatnot, he pulls himself down and starts breaking the ice from the ship and like picking it up and tossing it away from the ship. And he throws like giant chunks of ice, maybe 200 and more feet away from himself. And then he looks at me, like holding himself above the, just above the railing level, and says in giant, "Take care of yourself," and dives deep into the sea.
What's your name?
Too late.
Shit. Oh well, giant guy. All right.
So yeah, as you get it up and sort of figure out the things around the ship and prepare it to sail forward, you understand that you are halfway through.
I think we're about halfway through our journey.
And I think let's take a break over here, and then we will continue till the end, okay?
Cool.
Okay.
All right.